Hello and welcome. In this session, we will discuss the compilation process involved in C program. The source code contains the .c files and the .c files includes required header files. For example, let us see a sample C program. This is a sample C program which is used to find area of a circle. In this program, we have included the required header files. As a note, we have used a macro here. This define is a macro and pi has a value 3.14. So pi is a macro with value 3.14. So whenever you see this pi in code, it will be replaced by 3.14 during pre-processing. We will discuss pre-processing shortly. Now let us see the slide in which we have explained the different steps required for building a C program. The steps are pre-processing, assembling, compilation, linking, and finally loading. Let us discuss each of the steps in detail from the slides. The first step is the pre-processing. The preprocessor searches for the required header files to be included in source code and places the header file contents into the source code. Then later it searches for the macro present in source file and replaces it by its value. For example, in the code example, the macro pi is replaced by 3.14 in source code. The output of preprocessor is .i file. Let us see the same with example. Now using GCC we can build the code. Here if we need the intermediate preprocessed output, then we need to specify the flag to GCC. -save -temps is used to generate all the intermediate files. Let's compile the same now. If we see here, we use the required file flags to generate the intermediate file along with the final executable. This is the source file to be compiled and this is the file name by which we expect the executable to be generated. Let us see all the files generated using ls-al command from the terminal. We can see file with .i extension is generated. This is the intermediate pre-processed file. Let us open the pre-processed file. If we see this file, we can see that the header files like stdio.h is replaced by its content in source file. Finally, the macro is replaced by its value. If we have a look here, in the intermediate file, the pi is being replaced by 3.14. Now, next step is the assembler. This assembler will convert the pre-processed intermediate file to assembly code, and this assembly code generated is specific for a given processor. This assembly file has an extension .s. From ls-al command, we can see that we have got the assembly file as well with .s as its extension. Let's open this file. The content of this file is in assembly language and as specified, this generated assembly code is specific to a given hardware or processor. Now the next step is the compilation. The compiler will convert the assembly code to relocatable code. So if we see from slide in the project, there may be different source codes. Each source code will undergo the steps mentioned, that is pre-processing, assembling and compilation. Now finally, each source code produces a .o file that is nothing but an object file, and this object file is relocatable. This means the object file contains information about the functions and datas where it needs to be located in memory, but relocatable file does not contain exact memory location of these functions and datas. Also as a note, This object file is machine readable and cannot be read by human. You can try to open this file and check that it is not human readable. After the compilation, linking process comes into picture. The linker will link all the different object files along with the required libraries into single executable file. We can see the same here from the slide that all the object code along with the libraries are linked together to create a single executable file. We can see from ls command the name of the executable file created is shown here. The executable file format is generally out or COFF or ELF. Finally, loading is the final step in build process where the loader will load the executable file in the hardware memory, and finally the user executes this loaded program from the memory. Thank you for joining this session.